Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. And we're zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question that I wanted to address, and that is how to get over the hyper-arousal that oftentimes is elicited by a relationship with a psychopath. A psychopath is an individual who oftentimes is felt to only be a male, a violent criminal. You hear about a psychopathic killer, etc. A psychopath doesn't have to always be violent. They can be aggressive, but aggressive in other ways. And of course, they can be male or female. And there is a propensity for us to label and identify psychopaths as male as they enter into the criminal justice or the mental health system, because oftentimes their high-risk behavior and their lack of empathy gets them into trouble. So, more of the violent crimes or things, they present oftentimes more frequently than females. And if anything, females might get more propensity to be labeled as narcissistic when they indeed may be psychopathic. And the main distinguishing feature with a psychopath is these individuals have different neural wiring and firing than most people, and the areas of the brain that are responsible for judgment and fear and emotions and things of that nature really have a lack of activity. So, and then there is a high propensity or stimulation or sensitivity for reward. So like the dopamine, things of the nature, without getting too technical or too scientific. But the way the posterior antler insula is working and their amygdala and the systems within their brain that cause them, that would, most people would, have fear for or of doing, or, they would abide by rules or norms of society. The psychopath does not kind of feel that way. And they're then highly rewarded by certain things that give them pleasure. And then, of course, they have a kind of a deep emptiness within them there. If they're not kind of pursuing these things, they get bored or kind of, empty. They just don't have any feeling. They're not living their life the way they're wired to. So they have a high propensity to boredom, and then a high sensitivity, oversensitivity to the reward neurotransmitter dopamine. So when they want something, they are going after it strong. They will not be denied. So they oftentimes, as a psychopath, has a lack of empathy. So they really don't experience emotions for humanity or for other people the way that quote unquote most people do. They just don't feel it. They can put on, the mask very much. They learn very easy on that in order to fit in order to get away with what they want, whether it's sex, money, a job, a place to live, they sure better put on a mask, a facade. And so, they have picked up really on a high skill level how to do this. So oftentimes they will say, but they were so good, they kind of tend to put it in a positive light, when the hyperstimulation is nothing but an emotional way for them to control other people. And so they can take a high degree of pleasure by being able to control another person and fool them, by misleading them, by deceiving them. So even though they might be aroused or appearing like they're having a relationship, it is just what they're taking out of it is significantly different than what you are taking out of it. Completely 100% light years away different from what you're taking out of it. I mean, you don't know what it is to live in the shoes of the psychopath, nor do you want to know, but those people who have been through a relationship with a psychopath will know. They will know that they're not dealing with a typical type of person. There is something off, askew. There is something really cold, empty, lifeless about these people that, they'll see them when they're on and then when they're off. They'll see them when they're on and then they'll realize that they have a whole double or triple personality, and they're just keeping a lot of plates spinning in the air. And oftentimes when those people who are in relationships that aren't really relationships, they appear to be in a relationship, but it's not a relationship. You'll hear most people say it was not a relationship because you were not in a relationship with this person. You were basically just a vessel for this person to do something to be with, to get their satisfaction, which is, they needed to control somebody. They needed to take somebody down. They needed to take somebody down who is vulnerable, who is rich, who is poor, who has blonde hair, who has brown hair, who has big eyes, who has small eyes, who is the top of the company, who is at, wherever. They needed to target this person. And you don't appreciate it until you get through it, how hollow the relationship was. And what you're feeling on the hyperarousal is this psychopath who is trying to just basically get what they need or get off. And they will do this by violating other people and hyper arousing them. So, hypersexual arousal, getting people to the point where their bodies can never settle down. They can never, they're always like switched on. They will hyper arouse, hyper stimulate people sexually. They will get their minds all disarray, kind of flooding with a cocktail of this, sort of being broken down. It becomes like a psychological hijacking. And and this is, this is just how they work. They hyper arouse people in order to control them. So this person is not interested in sex per se. They're not interested in a relationship per se. This is just how they relate to others to get whatever it is that they need. So they might have needed a dinner date. They might have, needed someone to vacation with. They might have needed a business partner. They might have needed someone to take care of their kids. These are the types of things that these people will need and that they will get from you. Someone to be a support, laugh at their jokes, help them with their business, help them with their dinner, help them with their move, whatever it is. This person has needed something and you were there basically just to, to be wild, crazy, risky. This high risk behavior is what it is about. And because the psychopath doesn't kind of feel the same palpitations of love or like that excitement the way that I think most people do. It is my understanding that, they are hyper aroused and then oftentimes have a high propensity of testosterone, so they'll go after what they want. Like the people like the Tiger Woods. I'm not labeling anybody, but just for example, those people who, have gotten themselves into trouble for violating societal bounds. Matt Laurie, I think, recently in the news. Weinstein, people recently in the news. We're not a political show here. I'm here to help you to understand what has happened and that it will get better. But this is the why, to help you to understand why. So it's to belay boredom for this individual to do that. And that's how they break people down, basically, is through the hyperarousal, to have them always be thinking of them. You're always to be thinking of them. Even though they're not thinking of you, they'll always kind of give you like little bits of information or pictures or whatever it is that they're hooking you in on to keep you, on the line. And it's really when people hit rock bottom, when they discover, wow, this person, what was not who they say they were. I think that's where it really becomes difficult. And then they realize that this, then they, start to begin to study and understand, what is going on. So it is a very scary and horrifying place. And oftentimes people feel that they can't function. They feel that they're on like they're very unhappy, like their mind is racing, or they have ruminations or dreams, and they have compulsive behaviors going on. If you know what I mean, they have compulsive. They can't stop this feeling, and they feel like they must desperately be with this person, even though it's not in their best interest. They're, they just continue to be in the relationship, and the picture is not good. It is not pretty. The fighting, the whatever, the households that are broken up, etc. It gets, these individuals, you need to discipline yourself away from this and allow yourself to calm down. Begin to, just relax. Begin to allow yourself to relax and to feel safe. And the body will come down. The mind will calm down as well. You just need to separate from this situation and do it immediately, and just begin to, learn more about what has happened, and begin to, but at least stop, compulsively thinking about this person. Try to, know that is going to be your answer, that no contact is absolutely, without a doubt, going to be what you need to do in this case. Please watch more of our videos, and please know that no contact will definitely assist you to reset your natural mind state, body state, and spirit state, and what I call basically resensitize yourself. So all your senses are not filled with all that information, hyperstimulation that was at the hands of this individual. It is your buddy, peace and harmony with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.